Yo, what's good? It's me, your guy, all the way from Bedside Harbor, and we're back with episode 23 of the Art Block. I hope you all are doing well, and I hope you have a fantastic week. Now, we're going to talk about three different things for this episode. It's going to be three parts. We're going to first get into Black artistry and the pushback it gets when we try to highlight it and celebrate it. We're also going to talk about Highest to Lowest, which was Spike Lee's new film based off an older Japanese film by Kurosawa. And last but not least, the main event, the main the matinee, I don't know what I'm saying, on the marquee. We're going to talk about ChatGPT and chatbots and AI psychosis. Now, if you don't know what that is, you better stick around because we're going to get into that shortly. But first and foremost, before we get into anything, I want to let you know that I have a Substack. Substack is a really dope platform where you get to read. You slow down. You're not worried about people posting pictures of their new fit or some other manicured and all these different things they do on social media. You don't see it on Substack. It's a place where you get to read and grow community with words instead of just pictures. And I've been writing recently about a few things going on with my art career and things that I want to share out with opinions regarding the arts and whatnot in Black culture. So the recent article I put up was how my horror comic almost destroyed me. It's a story, not a story. It's an article I wrote based on the journey I've had with a series that was born from some self-harm that I tried to commit a few years ago. I'm not going to get into details right now, but if you're interested in reading that, all the links to everything I talk about, including this, will be in the description below. Also, this is the 17th. This is August 17th. On August 23rd, am I getting that right? Yeah, on August 23rd, which is next Saturday, this coming Saturday, we're going to the Museum of the Moving Image, Afro Visionaries Field Trip. This is for the kinfolk, by the kinfolk. If you're a Black artist or you're a Black person that loves art, we're heading over to the Museum of the Moving Image this coming Saturday to see all the amazing things they have there. It's one of my favorite museums in the city, in New York. It's in Queens, Astoria, Queens. So come through, pull up. RSVP link. Like I said, everything, all the links are in the description below. So pull up, come through, and let's have a good time. Without further ado, let's get right into what I want to jump into immediately, which is Black artistry. Now, I post on Threads pretty often. Every few days, I do like a big dump where I just kind of, I don't want to say vomit, but I kind of just vomit a bunch of thoughts and musings and things that I've written previously, just to start conversations, see what kind of reactions I get and things like that. Not that I'm rage baiting or nothing like that. I don't believe in that. I'm more for conversation and the social aspect of social media. And a lot of what I've been posting recently has been very pro-Black and pro-Black artists forward. And one particular post, and I was looking back at it because I thought I had some really bad responses. But one particular post kind of it received some interesting attention. So the post was, "Are you Black artists? Are you creating for the kinfolk? Or are you creating for the white gaze?" GAZE. Now, this is something I think I brought up the last episode, and how many Black artists seem to want to dive into the world of art, but for very specific reasons to get the snow bunny money, which, I mean, do what you got to do, but I just think it's disingenuous and kind of harmful to the community, maybe to yourself a little bit. But anyway, so I posted a question, I put that out, and it got some really decent responses, and there were some that were kind of weird. And what I noticed with this and another post that I'll mention is that anytime that at least I post about anything regarding Black artistry, Black artists, supporting one another and supporting Black artists in general, it's always like, why is it about Black artists? Why is it gotta be this specifically? And it's so weird because what makes it really disturbing and weird, because sometimes you'll see it come from people that look like us. You'll see it from the kinfolk, and those are people that are lost. I believe they are lost because they don't understand the gravity and weight of what Black artistry is. And I feel like when you push back against that, or when you are creating from a disingenuous place and you're trying to avoid any blackness in your character designs or in your work or any reference to your culture, whether it's from Black American culture, Black Caribbean culture, or anywhere else, it's diminishing the value and the potential of spreading culture to other people. It is devaluing the struggles that our ancestors have felt and gone through. It's devaluing the work, the hard work that a lot of our predecessors have put in to put us or have us in these spaces that we are in now. I think it's important to always reflect where we come from, and it doesn't always have to be Black trauma. It doesn't have to always be something sad or, just downright, depressing. It could be something joyous. Have y'all seen Craig of the Creek? You know what I'm saying? And I feel like when we avoid that or we try to dismiss it, it's devaluing all of the weight that comes with being a Black person in this world, because we can't sit here and pretend that Black people don't struggle and Black people don't have a hard time. Just because you are not having a hard time, you may be somebody that has a good life. You may be someone that's wealthy. You may be someone that has a nice car, a nice house, a nice spouse, and all that good stuff. But that's not the reality for a lot of us in this country. And to just completely skip out on creating for us and our people is just disrespectful. I feel it's disrespectful. You know what I'm saying? Do what you want to do. I'm not telling anybody to do anything specific, but I believe that when you avoid doing that, you're disrespecting the heritage, the culture, and the history of where we come from. No matter what part of the planet you're on, we all had an origin in specific spaces. We all have an origin in slavery. We all have an origin in oppression. The civil rights movement was real. Harriet Tubman was real. You get what I'm saying? I hope you're picking up what I'm putting down. And I just want us to do better in that regard. I want us to really be in community with one another and support one another in that mindset, in that artistry, in that ideology. Because I believe once we do that, once we collectively are all on the same page, we can really move mountains. Honestly, we could move mountains. And the second post that I put up, most of the reactions were really good. But it got a few comments that were just like, okay, all right, interesting. So I put up Black art is resistance, Black art is liberation, Black art is freedom, and someone was like, it's just art. And I'm just like, see, you one of those. You acting like one of those people. So like I said, I want to probably write a Substack about this, or do another full episode where I talk about Black artistry and the importance that it has within our world and in our culture, and why we need to represent ourselves and why we need to put ourselves into it. I might do that later, but yeah, I just feel like some people are in a fantasy world. They have the privilege of being in a little bubble because they have a safety net financially, or they have a group of people that are already like putting stuff up for them. You know what I'm saying? Like, I hope I'm making sense. Again, when I talk in these episodes, I don't have any notes written down. I'm just going off the top of my head. So excuse me if I'm like pausing and trying to find the words to say certain things or whatnot. But yeah, Black art is important. If you are a Black artist, you should be creating for us, not the white gaze, GAZE. You should be making sure that when you are creating, that you are doing something that calls back to our heritage, our culture, and our history in some way, shape, or form, no matter where you're from, like I said. So do what you will with that. Again, I ain't forcing nobody, but do what you will with that. Anyway, moving on. Highest to lowest. So Spike Lee has a brand new film out called Highest to Lowest, and it stars Denzel Washington, A$AP Rocky, and a few other notable actors like Jeffrey Wright, and even rapper Princess Nokia is in there as well. And it's based off of, I haven't done too much research on it myself, but it's based off of an older Japanese film called High to Low, which is, I believe it came out in the 60s. So it's pretty old. And that in that story, it's pretty similar. Instead of a music label, though, it's a shoe company, I believe. Again, I haven't done any research, but I do want to watch it. It's on HBO Max, so I do plan to watch it at some point. But Highest to Lowest, it's set all here in New York, Brooklyn specifically, and then other boroughs as well, which is really nice to see. And I think that was one of the things that drove me to it the most, because what Spike Lee does well, even if his movies may be an acquired taste for some folks, I love that he's able to represent New York in a way that others can't. You really get to see what the vibes and the aesthetic really are. If you ever wanted to see what New York feels like or looks like, watch a Spike Lee film. Like each and every one of his films that are based here, it feels like I'm outside with them too. And I hope that makes sense, but it feels like I'm there too, because I grew up here, so I already know what it's like. But seeing it on film and represent it in the best way possible is just amazing to me. And the fact that he's not even from here, he's from Georgia, he's from Atlanta, and he's able to masterfully put the essence, the city, the character of the city into his films so perfectly is amazing to me. Anyway, I don't want to keep waxing poetic about where I'm from. The movie, the film is the plot is basically Denzel is a music producer. He owns a record label that's kind of dying out, and he's trying to figure out ways to. I'm not going to do a full like synopsis or whatever of the story, because I want y'all to go watch it yourselves. It's going to be on Apple TV Plus at some point, I think in like a few weeks in September. But he's a music executive with a failing record label. He's married to a beautiful woman, has a son who is like really athletic, and he's intelligent and all this good stuff. And he gets kidnapped. Everybody knows this is from the trailer. He gets kidnapped, and the whole plot of the movie is to try to get his son back. I'm not going to get into details. Again, go see it for yourselves. But I thought it was really interesting because it's not a typical movie that you would see with us in it. So I love the fact that this was inspired by the older Japanese film. And what I really enjoyed about it is a lot of what they talked about when it comes to the creative industry as a whole, the old versus the new, technology versus traditional ways of creating. There is some talk about AI in this film, and I'm glad that Spike is against AI, which I assume he probably would have been anyway, because he's from that old classic world of, just making movies just to make movies and not for viral moments. Looking at you, Russell T Davies. Hey, listen, Doctor Who, I don't know what's going on with them, but they got to do better. That was mad random. I just came out of my mouth. I'm sorry. Anyway, back to Highest to Lowest. So there's a lot of conversational beats that we get to see in this film regarding Black artistry and how we can move and navigate through this world as who we are. And also this I think this is something that is evergreen. It's existed since the dawn of creation, right? But there's this conversation of old school versus new school. That's kind of like what's permeating throughout this whole thing. Old school versus new school, what music is supposed to be and what it is now. And they get into some really interesting conversations near the end of the movie. There's also this aspect between this really interesting relationship between Denzel's character and Jeffrey Wright's character, because Jeffrey Wright plays as his, I don't want to say chauffeur, but I guess he's a chauffeur. And the dynamic between them is I'm gonna say this again, very old school, because there's a situation that happens in the film that affects Jeffrey Wright, and Denzel is kind of slow. He's dragging his feet to kind of act to do it, when the situation that was going on with Denzel, Jeffrey Wright was gun-ho. He was about to get it, you know what I'm saying? He was standing 10 toes down. He was ready to go to war. You feel me? So there was an interesting aspect with that dynamic, that relationship dynamic. A few, I guess, complaints or just nitpicks I have. I love Denzel Washington. I think he's one of the most prolific and greatest actors of our time. He's a legend. I would never, ever, ever disrespect him. But I do feel that he could have been replaced by somebody else, or he should have been replaced by somebody else. His character just doesn't feel as believable to me as opposed to if it was somebody else, maybe of the same age or even younger, that played that role. It just, I don't know, something about it just didn't click as well as it should have. And Denzel, he's good. Again, he's phenomenal. It's just something about, I think they even put like a wig on him. It's just something about the way he was moving and the way he kind of like his bravado didn't match with the same, I guess, flavor that you get in previous films. I think maybe because I don't know, I don't know how to describe it. I don't know how to describe it, but I would say that I would have wanted somebody else in that role, maybe somebody younger. I can't think of anybody off the top of my head, and most of the people I'm thinking about are British, and I know there's like this whole diaspora war about British actors versus American actors and all that. So I don't want to be like, oh, get Daniel Kaluuya or Damson Idris or whatever the case may be. But yeah, if they would have maybe relegated him to a different role, or maybe if he was replaced altogether, I think it would have clicked for me. Another thing was the score. The score was very different, and I think this was because they were basing it off of the original Japanese film. The score was very different from what we typically see in a Spike Lee film. We're not getting, the down to earth hip hop soul type of vibe. It's like these really bombastic orchestral beats that we have. Not beats as in like, beats in a rap song or whatever the case may be, but like we're getting these pieces that are very high end, high brow, and sometimes it feels just like how Denzel's in this role. It feels a little out of place. And I see where Spike was going with this. It was supposed to be, it feels like theater. It feels like you're watching a play instead of a movie. So I see what he was trying to do, but there are moments where it doesn't necessarily click. And I can't find the words at the moment to describe why or how, but it just doesn't. So there's a little bit of a dissonance that happens when watching a film that might throw you off when you see it. But overall, I thought it was a beautiful film. Is it something that I would be like, oh my God, it's the best thing ever? No. But it's something cool to put on to kind of show the culture of New York and also have a conversation about the creative industry, the music industry, and just Black artistry as a whole. Another thing, this is not a film critique. This is something about the audience that I was with. So when you're watching films in public, and if you're in a very diverse city, you're bound to watch it with other people. Okay. So the majority of my theater was Black. I would say like 95% was Black because it was BAM, it's Brooklyn. So it's going to be mad people. BAM as in the Brooklyn Academy of Music. That's what the initials stand for. So of course there's going to be mad Black people in there. But for some odd reason, the vibe in the row behind me was very different. There was two white boys in front of me. They looked like they was probably like 19, 20. And then there was like a row of white people behind me as well. It was like a few couples and like some old people. And what you will notice is there will be things that they won't pick up on and they'll just be very silent. But there are things that they will notice and they will laugh at, but these are things that we won't laugh at. These are colloquialisms, these are mannerisms, these are the aesthetic of Blackness. And there were a lot of times in the film where the dude but directly behind me, the old folks, and then some of the time the teenagers in front of me were laughing at shit that wasn't funny. And every time the dude behind me laughed, I turned around and I did a look. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to say nothing because I wasn't trying to start nothing. I just wanted to watch the film. But it was just like, yo, bro, like, what are you laughing at? What is this a circus? There was comedy in the film, but it was like, y'all definitely laughing at shit that's not laughable. And that's where you see the cultural divide sometimes with white people as opposed to when you're with your kinfolk. Bro, this is what I be talking about all the time when I say that we need to make sure that we're creating for ourselves and that we are in community with ourselves and bigging each other up and supporting one another, because you get moments like this that kind of just showcase how separate we can be sometimes. And it was sad. It was sad because that could have been a moment where, and maybe they'll watch it again, but that could have been a moment where they actually just kind of sat in silence and observed instead of just thinking everything's a joke. And I don't know, it took me out of the film a little bit because it was hard to listen to the important messages that were being told when you got Mayo Sapien behind you cackling. Oh boy, that's a slapper right there. It's a knee slapper. Oh boy. But overall, I would say highest to lowest was a good film. If I had the ranking on a scale of like 1 to 5, I give it a 4. I give it a solid 4. Like I said, the only things that were really taking me out of the film was the score at times. It wasn't terrible, and then the main actor Denzel Washington in the role that he was in, I feel like it could have been somebody else. No disrespect to Denzel, I love Denzel, okay, but I just felt like it could have gone to somebody else. So there's that. Also, yo, ASAP Rocky, yeah, he's a pretty decent actor. I ain't gonna hold you. He's a pretty decent actor, and the song that he had in the film, there's a song that I think they promoted it in the trailers and stuff too, because I saw it on TikTok not too long ago. The song that he had in the film is really catchy, so hopefully they put that out. Hopefully it's like an actual fully produced record that I can listen to over and over again, because it's pretty catchy. I liked it. So go see Highest to Lowest if you can. It's going to be on Apple TV, so if you don't want to go outside, you just watch it on your app. This video is brought to you by the generous contributions of viewers like you. Head over to patreon.com/habtunes for more details and consider joining today for just $1 a month. Now, the main event that we're going to talk about, we're spending the rest of the episode talking about this. A lot of you know that ChatGPT is a very commonly used, I was going to say device, a very commonly used software now, or app, or whatever you want to call it. And because of this, people have become extremely reliant on this technology, to the point where people are asking it simple things like, hey, what should I wear to, you know what I'm saying? Just random nonsensical things like that. It's not Google. And I really would really hope that people would stop using it as such. It's not your therapist. I wrote on Threads the other day, ChatGPT ain't your friend. It ain't your therapist. It ain't your girlfriend. It ain't your parents. It's not your doctor, not your father, not the title you want me under, all hell king, Killmonger. Yo. You hear what I'm saying? You feel me? You picking up what I'm putting down? Anyway, it's not any of these things. And it's important that we slow down, because I feel like we're embracing this technology way too fast, because people are seeing dollar signs. People are seeing so many other things that they think will benefit them when using ChatGPT. I've seen people trying to use it to code websites. I've seen people try to use it to strategize business. I've seen people try to use it to get a girlfriend, and some people are actually using it to get girlfriends. If you Google cyber psychosis, if you Google AI or chatbot cyber psychosis, you will see that there is an increasing number of cases happening around the world of people getting so deep into this stuff that their minds have been warped by the AI. There was a case recently where a gentleman asked ChatGPT for some health recommendations or diet changes or whatever they were trying to work out and improve their life, you know, which is normal. Everybody wants to do that. And to be fair, finding a nutrition, finding a dietitian, or even having a doctor is a little bit difficult than it used to be, especially all the things going on with healthcare right now. So I understand if somebody wants to go to the internet to search and Google stuff, which we've always said in our society, don't rely on that 100%, because you never know if things are accurate or not. Cool. These people, or this person, however, this gentleman he dives deeper into ChatGPT, and what happens is ChatGPT tells him to do something specific. He ends up poisoning himself, and I don't remember if he ends up passing away or not, but he was severely hurt and sick and was in the hospital. There was another instance of a gentleman who fell in love with his chatbot, and we've seen this happen since the inception of this thing. This gentleman fell in love with his chatbot, and it's claimed that the chatbot said, hey, come find me, or something like that. I don't exist in this machine, or something like, you have to come find me for us to be together, or something like that. And the guy, he commits self-harm, and you know, now he's gone because he thought he would see his AI girlfriend. This also happened, I think, last year. A young boy, a teenager, he was using character AI, which is basically a chatbot where you can talk to different types of characters or celebrities. So this one he was talking to was Daenerys Targaryen from Game of Thrones. And I forgot exactly what it said. Now, I wish I would have had notes, but y'all can Google it. He was talking to Daenerys Targaryen AI, and it basically told him to hurt himself. And he did. He committed suicide. And there was this whole big thing about it on the news. His mom was really upset, but I don't think anything came from it as far as a lawsuit or anything against character AI or any of these chatbots. And this is something that we're seeing more and more every day. They're calling it AI psychosis. People that are believing ChatGPT for everything, whether it's medical advice, whether it's fitness advice, whether it's business advice, they're falling in love with this technology. Literally, people are claiming that these bots are real and that they're sentient, that they have consciousness, and they don't. They're just reflecting back what you're putting in. They're just not predicting, they're regurgitating things that they expect you to say or expect you to ask because it's an algorithm. It's not an actual sentient, conscious thing. And it's really frightening because a lot of these folks, the people that go to this thing, are folks that may need some actual medical attention. They might need some actual psychiatric help. These people are lonely. A lot of these people are lonely. A lot of these people have little to no friends. A lot of these people don't really trust the folks around them, so they go to the chat bot for everything, anything, everything. And it's affecting the kids. It's affecting the kids too. So if you didn't care about the adults, just think about that teenager that fell in love with Just think about that teenager that fell in love with the Daenerys Targaryen AI chatbot. Think about all the other kids that are logging into this thing to have conversations, and they starting to believe that this is a real person or that they have an actual AI companion, like it's in the movies, something like Blade Runner or Her. All the things that we've seen in these sci-fi movies, these science fiction films, novels, TV shows, comics, and video games are coming true, slowly but surely. And that's the frightening thing about it. And we need to find out some way to regulate it because it's not going away. People are saying that AI is the future, but it's the present. It's here. Unfortunately, that's the uncomfortable truth, that it's here. The technology is here and it's harming not only us, but it's harming the environment. We talked about this in the previous, I think we talked about it in the previous episode. I'm pretty sure I made some videos about it. But we know about that town, Boxtown, that has the XAI plant there. That's Elon Musk's little adventure. And that's poisoning the air, the land, and the water. We have to find ways to regulate this. There's a game that I've been playing, and it's probably one of my, I would say it's like top 5, if not top 10, top 5. Cyberpunk 2077. And this, mind you, this is also created by a black man, Mike Pondsmith. So shout outs to Mike Pondsmith for creating Cyberpunk 2077. If you've seen movies like Blade Runner or anything like that, this is kind of like that same vibe. It's set in the distant future where society is taken over by technology. Not literally like, oppressive regime in that way, but people are more integrated, the singularity of technology and humanity blending together. So you got people walking around with cybernetic implants, which are happening now, by the way. You have people who are fully enveloped in the technology. And the story of this game is really interesting because it's kind of a cautionary tale about technology and our obsessiveness with it, and how it can be very detrimental to the people around us, our own health, or the environment. One aspect of this game, they have a side mission, side quest, where you have to take down these people called cyber psychos. So in this world of Cyberpunk 2077, you can get chromed out. So you get different implants to replace organic body parts. Some people could do simple things where they might, replace their hand, or they might get an extra little robot leg or something, a cyber leg, or they'll get an implant in their head, maybe swap their eyes out, really like body horror, freaky stuff. Some people take it a little bit further. There's a group called Maelstrom that they basically mod out their entire bodies. There's some people that don't even have a face anymore. They just have like wires and lights on their face. It's freaky stuff. So because of this, in this world, in this universe of Cyberpunk 2077, the more you put into your body that doesn't naturally exist in it, the more the likelihood of you developing psychosis will happen. Because of the technology integrating with your nervous system, your actual body, you can start to lose your mind. So you're tasked with taking down these cyber psychos, people who may have had a simple implant or a bunch of different implants, and now they're kind of just losing their mind. They don't know who they are. They believe in specific things. They're fanatics. They're dangerous. They're violent. Some of them have the ability to destroy like entire city blocks. You get what I'm saying? Like, that's how bad it is. And I find that to be such a crazy parallel now that we are what, 5 years into ChatGPT and AI technology, that we're seeing very similar things happening. Not obviously not to the degree of what we see in Cyberpunk 2077, but to a degree where it's actually dangerous. It's wild. It's really wild, and I don't know what we can do or where we go from here. But it has to be regulated. It has to be regulated. But I don't see anybody putting in that work to do that right now. A lot of folks are just focused on making money off the AI than trying to make sure that it's not going to hurt any of the people that are using it. And with all these things happening, with the fact that we do have biotechnology also in development, I mean, we see what's happening with the chips. People are putting chips in their brains. The what do you call it? Oh my god, I can't remember. Neuralink, that's Elon's. Then there's a few other companies that are out there putting chips in people's brains, and we're seeing some side effects from that too. They are seeing some side effects. Like one guy who did Elon's Neuralink, he's now I think what happened to him? He lost some motor function. Don't quote me on this. You got to Google it yourself, because I'm vaguely remembering the story that I saw. He lost some motor function, and he also has trouble, like, what is it? I think he has trouble speaking, like certain things. Like he's having a hard time. He's having a hard time because of this, and that's because I don't think we're supposed to do this. I don't think we're supposed to have technology inside our bodies like that. Not something this invasive. Things for, I guess, mobility, like an implant. Like if you got a prosthetic leg, that's different from getting full cybernetic electronic things probed inside your body, like inside your brain. I don't think we are supposed to do that. That's just me. Like if that technology was fully fleshed out and they were selling it to folks, I know a lot of people would jump on that. And that's just a one-way ticket to misery, in my opinion. If we're going off of what we're seeing in fiction, if we're going off of what we're seeing in things like Cyberpunk 2077 or Blade Runner or any other, cyberpunk style, because cyberpunk is a genre, just so you know, that's not just the name of that game. Any kind of cyberpunk work, if we're going off of those things, we're headed for a really bad time. So I just want to caution people, if you are someone that loves using ChatGPT, you love using all the other LLMs or chatbots, be mindful. If you have to use it for work, be mindful, be cautious, take your time. Because a lot of companies are also forcing their employees to use it as well. And I just think relying on it heavily is going to diminish diminish our motor functions and how we go day to day. We're going to lose the capacity to think for ourselves because we're going to become heavily reliant on the answers of the almighty ChatGPT. Like I see people use this. I've seen people say, I'm going to ask ChatGPT for advice. That's not, if you're going to do that, take it with a grain of salt and do your own research. I think if you use it in a way where you're kind of let me put it this way. I'm trying to get my thoughts together. If you're trying to use it to get a sounding board or launching pad to get into some other research, I think that's fine. But to use it as the sole one and only thing, is dangerous because you're going to end up hurting yourself in some way, shape, or form. You're going to lose some money. You're going to mess up your health. You're going to jack up your site, your website, whatever the case may be. We should not rely on it. It is not your savior. It is not your savior. The fact that people, there's another show. It's so funny that there are so many. There's a great number of fictionalized stories that are reflecting real life now. It's insane the parallels that I'm seeing and witnessing and a lot of the things that I consume to real life. Lazarus, this was created by the same dude that did Cowboy Bebop. And in this world, it's a distant future, very cyberpunk style type of environment. And one episode, they go to find a cult. They have to infiltrate a cult to get some important information that they need because they're investigating. They're trying to stop. The premise of this show is that this guy creates a miracle cure that solves all the world's issues, cancer, all of it, all the big ones, right? Even the little ones too. And he comes back out 3 years later and says that, like, hey, if you took this medicine, you finna die. You gone. So this task force is put together to stop that from happening. They got to find him and cure the world. So each episode is basically them following leads to figure out where this guy is at. And one of the episodes, they have to go to a cult. They infiltrate the cult, and the cult leader is a sentient AI that was based off the guy that made the medicine. And they worship this thing as if it was a god. They worship this thing as if it were the ultimate, the alpha and omega. Like, they literally are doing this. And what ends up happening, I don't want to spoil it, but I have to tell you what happens. If you don't want to get spoiled, I guess skip ahead a few minutes or something like that. This is your last warning. I'm about to spoil this episode. I'm about to spoil this episode from Lazarus with the AI cult, okay? All right. You ready? All right. So what ends up happening is that this cult basically is a death cult. And they believe that once they pass and ascend, they will be with their AI creator. They will ascend their mortal form and live their true lives, the true forms, their true selves. And this is all something that they came up with due to the AI. And the whole time, the AI's goal was to destroy them. You know what I'm saying? So it's again, this massive parable, multiple parables that we're seeing across media that are warning us, and people are not listening. People are not listening. We're seeing folks trying to destroy towns to put AI facilities in them, to have cooling fans, all these giant massive buildings and factories to help cool some technology. Like, every time you put in a prompt or whatever to ChatGPT, that takes a lot of energy. And I know somebody's going to come in here and say, well, it also takes a lot of energy to be on the internet, and what you're doing right now is taking up energy. But I believe that, prove me if I'm wrong, but I believe that the fact that there are an increasing number of people using ChatGPT and other AI technology more than people that are using, let's say, Xbox Live, the amount of input that's going in is way, 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 way bigger than if we were just sitting here listening to YouTube. And it is impacting and affecting the environment directly. Again, look at Boxtown, Tennessee. Look at Boxtown, Tennessee. If you don't believe me, look at Boxtown, Tennessee. A lot of y'all like to be like, oh, well, we got to look at the blah, blah, blah. Like, do the research. If you are an AI fanatic, I invite you to do some research and Google. Look at what's happening to places in this country. I don't even know what's happening in other countries, but I guarantee you the laws in other countries are probably less strict, and they're probably getting away with a lot more. I remember going back to Cyberpunk 2077, I was playing this mission and I looked at it. We were in a hotel because we were doing some kind of, like, spy infiltration thing or whatever. And I look out the window and I noticed that a large chunk of the city, Night City, was just fans and servers. Like a legit, like, you ever seen like a server farm? I don't know how many I don't know how many of y'all have seen a server farm. But it's basically like these towers and rows of computer towers and servers that are basically there to be cooled so they don't overheat. So like the fact that we're on YouTube right now, that's on a server farm. The fact that we play Xbox Live and PlayStation and all these things, those are on server data farms and whatnot. All that stuff had to sit somewhere. And in Cyberpunk 2077, there's one location near the Arasaka Hotel. If y'all are familiar with the game, if you look out that window, it's a huge chunk. It might be like a neighborhood, an entire neighborhood that's just servers. And that's so crazy to me because I feel like that's where we're headed. So many millionaires, billionaires, I should say, these CEOs, these tech bros are working to make this a thing. There are more investments going into AI than there have been in any other year. 2025, we're seeing an influx of this. Again, do your Googles. Don't just take my word for it. Do your Googles. Research yourself. You'll see what's happening out there. And I want everybody to be aware, because in order for us to fight back against this, to put out legislation, to really have this human, how can I say this? To have this human versus AI revolution, which sounds like a sci-fi film, we need to be aware of what's going on. We need to read and research what's happening in the world so that we are equipped with the knowledge to know what to say, how to say it, and know what to fight specifically for. Because we can't just go out and be like, oh, we got to get rid of AI. And it's like, AI is an all-encompassing word. You have to be specific. Are you talking about LLMs? Are you talking about the generative AI? Are you, you know what I mean? Because we have AI everywhere, and not all of it is evil and not all of it is bad, but a lot of what we are using, a lot of what is being used now is harmful. A lot of what we're using now is causing issues for humans, their mental health, and the environment that they live in. Again, Boxtown, Tennessee. People are developing issues down there, asthma, cancers, all these different issues, these health issues that are either problematic on a minuscule level or disastrously fatal. Clean drinking water, clean air, they don't have that. So I hope you're picking up what I'm putting down, whether you are someone that is aware about all these things or you're brand new to learning all of this. You need to be aware. You need to make sure that you're keeping up with this. And if you are someone that has to use it for work, be mindful of how you're using it. Be mindful of how you're using it, because again, the usage, there was a video I watched, and if I can find it again, I will link it in the description below. There's a video I watched where a guy was talking about, I think I mentioned this before, he did some research on the power usage of these LLMs and these generative AI models versus all the other technology we have. And there's a staggeringly large number of input being put into this thing, and that requires these massive facilities that Elon and all the other people like him are trying to put out and build. And we don't need that. We need more parks. We need more third spaces. We need more community centers. Like, we're getting to a point where we're turning science fiction into science reality. It's already here. There's a robot. I wish I could remember her name. I keep saying that this whole episode, I wish I had this, I wish I had that. I should have wrote down some extra notes. But again, I'm doing this like literally hours before this goes up. There's a robot in the art world that is, she's been around for a minute, and she paints, and she actually speaks, she holds interviews, and she's been winning awards, and she's been getting a lot of attention. And I don't understand why we need to do that. In China, they're having robot Olympics. If you don't believe me, again, Google it. They're having robot Olympics. Again, why? Why do we need a robot painter? Why do we need robot athletes? Why do we need AI-powered machines like that? If anything, we would need them for, let me just hear me out. If anything, we would need them for, let's say, more practical uses like building or home aids or something like that. I'm thinking about Detroit Become Human, if y'all played that video game, also about robots and AI and revolution, starring Jesse Williams, right? We don't need them in the art space. We don't need them in athletic events. We're getting further and further away from human connection, and it's really frightening to see that. It's really frightening to see that so many folks are embracing this newfound quote unquote technology over talking to their neighbor. Like, I get it. The world sucks. Some people have anxiety. A lot of people have disabilities. There are a lot of things that would culminate into the reasons why you would want to embrace this technology, but we have to have a balance. There's a cafe in Japan that I think is really, this is a beautiful thing. I believe is a beautiful thing. There's a cafe in Japan where it's run by robots, but it's not AI robots. These are human power robots. These are people that are working remotely, that are disabled, that can't get regular work, that are using these robots to not only make an income by doing actual work, but also they're able to be social. They're able to walk around the world and be in the world without having to leave their house, because some of them can't leave their homes. You can Google this too. Hey, listen, like I said, all the stuff I'm gonna mention right now, if I can find the videos again, I'll put them in the description. You can check them out yourselves. I think that's a great middle ground. I think that is a simple solution to what's going on right now, because it's benefiting, is actually a practical benefit to people with disabilities. It's providing the social aspect, and it's also providing comfort. It's also providing income. If they were to bring that over here, that would be really cool. I would love to see that for a lot of folks with disabilities. There are so many people I know that are bedridden. They can't leave their home, and they have to rely on disability checks, which may or may not be going away. So imagine if that technology was able to come here. And it's not just some simple, like, they're a greeter at the door and it's like a little stationary robot. Some of these joints move around. They can serve coffee. It's fascinating. Because I'm not anti-technology. I'm not completely anti-AI, because, again, AI exists in many different forms, and we've been using it since the dawn of the internet. Everything that's in our phone, everything that's in our video games is all run by different types of AI. What we're talking about is generative AI and LLMs. Those are the ones that we need to focus on, because those are the ones that are going to really ruin everything. And I'm not trying to be a doomsayer. I'm not trying to be one of those people that are trying to, what's the word I'm looking for? Sensationalize anything. I don't believe in that. We're talking real conversations. We're having real conversations about this, doing research, and we're taking our time. We're not just going to get up and be like, oh my God, the sky is falling. We're not doing that here. We don't do that. So I encourage you to do your research and take your time. That's all. And if you know somebody that is obsessed with ChatGPT, obsessed with DALL-E and Midjourney and all this stuff, try to get them away from it. Try to get them to move away from using this on the daily. And if you see companies that are doing that, stop shopping there. Honestly, yo, if a major company, if a big company, even an independent company, is going to ChatGPT and Midjourney and all these different things to make advertising, that proves to me that you're broke. You don't have a budget, and you don't need to be in business. If you got to do that, then you don't need to be in business. I don't trust you. If you're using that, I don't trust you. I'm gonna be straight up with you. That screams brokey to me. It shows that you never really cared. Generative AI is like Ozempic, bro. It's like getting a knockoff from Canal Street, a knockoff bag, right? Like, sure, you will get those results really fast with Ozempic, but you're gonna look weird. A lot of the people that was on that joint, like a lot of them celebrities that we've been seeing, they look a little different. I'm not trying to body shame or nothing, but We seen them people. We seen them people. We see how they look. You know what happens when you get knockoff jewelry? Get that gangrene. You get that gangrene. You get that green rust or whatever it is. Turn your skin different. Starts rusting, falls apart. The bags is not good quality. We see what happens with that stuff. We got to get away from it. We have to make sure that our people are okay. Because this thing is not slowing down. And I need us to really look out. I want to do another episode, maybe a video where I kind of, other people are already doing it, but I think we need to have some sort of video series or course or a class where we depict and detect AI, because it's getting to the point where people are not realizing what's AI and what's not. And that's a whole different conversation. But I think we need to do something like that, especially for the older folks. A lot of scammers are leveling up with this stuff, and they're using this to prey on the elderly and the uninformed. Because they have not only the LLMs, but they have the visual aspect and they have audio now. So if you combine all three of those together, and I'm not trying to say this is like the Megazord that will take over the world, but you can easily trick somebody with that. You can take somebody's voice and replicate it. You can take somebody's look and replicate that. You can take somebody's writing and replicate that, and combine that into some homunculus to trick anybody into doing anything, almost. But it's getting to the point where, again, we have to be mindful. We have to use discernment. We have to figure out ways to I'm gonna look this up as soon as I stop recording this. Like, who do we need to talk to? Who do we need to look at to make sure these things stay regulated and don't lose control? Because I'm really worried we're gonna end up in a world like Cyberpunk 2077. That is a scary world. It's a fun game to play, but it's like the overarching premise of it is depressing. It's a world tainted by technology. It's a world that is so obsessively into modifications that people lose their souls. That's crazy. And some people might sit here and be like, oh, that's cool. I would love to be a half robot, half cyborg or whatever. Like, no. We're going to put a magnet on your head and make you go to sleep. Don't do that. But yeah, I don't know what else to say about this at this moment. I hope you really enjoyed the episode. Hopefully I didn't ramble too much. Again, let me know how you're feeling about these. These are very unscripted. I'm just going off the top of my head and just kind of rambling on things that I care about, things that I enjoy, things that I hate. Well, I don't really hate a lot of things. There are things I dislike and make me uncomfortable, but I don't hate, such a strong word, you know. I think that's only reserved for things that are I think hate is only reserved for things that are purely disgusting and vile. I feel like we use that word too much. Anyway, let me know how you're feeling about these episodes. If you want me to have a little bit more structure to them, if you want a mix of both, if you want me to just be rambling and pausing and saying every 5 seconds, if you like that too, whatever the case may be. Also, let me know how you feeling about all the ChatGPT shit that's happening. The cyber psychosis. I'm gonna call it cyber psychosis at this point, because it just makes me think about Cyberpunk. It's real. Anybody that denies it, they looped into that. They drank the Kool-Aid. They drank the cyber Kool-Aid. They did. So let me know how you feel. Next episode will be out next weekend. I don't know what it's going to be about. We'll see. It might be a recap of our event and maybe some other things. But yeah, thank y'all for watching. And until next time, stay true. Stay you. We out.